Hello and welcome. This week's lesson, we're going to look more closely at the train of thought that occurs very quickly, sometimes even unnoticed, and takes us to a place that we really don't want to be. So often the greatest battle in life is between what we think and what we think we feel. And somewhere in the middle is the true understanding of this situation. External stimuli, such as sight, sound, and feeling, which could often be temperature, will be our object of meditation. So get yourself in a familiar position, and as you sit there, the eyes open or closed, watch how you perceive reality around you. But at the moment of awareness, just stop and don't apply a qualifier to it, such as cold or hot, loud or quiet, or bright or dark. Just be aware that you are aware. Now the exercise is only a minute long, but work with me. We will be making several stops in this lesson. Thank you. All right, now, as we sit here, the moment of awareness, we try to judge, to identify the stimuli that we're experiencing. Hot, cold, light, dark, loud, quiet. And the moment we do that, we, in a sense, limit our experience of the sensation. Because so often, previous to this moment, a lot of how we react emotionally to anything is based upon previous experience with it, whether it be positive or negative. So as you sit here in awareness, and suddenly thoughts come up, like, oh wait, the room is cold. Stop for a moment and begin to realize, wait a minute, yes, the room is cold, but how do I feel about that? So before you become, oh, I hate the cold, or I need to warm it up, or it's too hot, stop again. Stop with the awareness and notice those thoughts and feelings without judgment. Just know that you are experiencing these things for just the next minute. Thank you. All right. Now for this next exercise, feelings become beliefs, beliefs become habit. We have to stop and realize that a lot of what we do is to construct for ourselves a world or a reality that allows us to flow almost effortlessly from one moment to the next, avoiding those things that we find uncomfortable. And in some situations, it's rightfully so. You don't walk outside in the dead of winter without a jacket. That's not what I'm referring to. So often in the news, we hear about events that happen that either make us angry or happy, or that I hate that, or they shouldn't be doing that, or this. Again, we're making qualifying statements of judging, and then from there we allow it to affect our feelings, and sometimes we can sit and stew in our emotions for quite a long time, and this becomes a habit. Sometimes we have to break these habits to interrupt those feelings and take a further step back and begin to realize, what do I really think about this? So for the next minute, again, evaluate the environment that you're in as your object of meditation. Be aware of what you're thinking and feeling, and then begin to realize, what habits do I do to either avoid or remain with the impulse? Thank you. Okay, for this next lesson, we're going to be looking a lot closer at habits become being. That is best described as saying was, well, so-and-so has always been that way, or they've always done it that way. Well, yeah, the sun may always rise in the east and set in the west, but is that a habit? No. That is the natural course of reality. A habit would be insisting that unless you have that 2 cups of coffee in the morning with your 15 minutes of screen time, I'm just not going to have a good day. And then if that doesn't happen, you're grumpy the rest of the day. That's the being that I'm talking about. Your habits form who you are perceived by the world outside of yourself. And all you have to do is just go to work and make some observations about your coworkers and begin to realize that a lot of what they're doing is out of habit. Even I'll admit that. I'm ruled by a schedule of appointments for guests and clients and patients to come to my massage table. And there's a certain habit or ritual I like to do to remind myself that today's going to be okay. But I'm aware enough to take a step back and realize that unlike magic, this is not going to guarantee it. It's just going to allow me to be more present in the moment. So make yourself comfortable, focus on your breath, and start to become aware of your being. Thank you. All right, I like this next one. Being becomes spontaneously awesome. I like to use that quaint expression so often because on the pathless path, people ask, what are you becoming in the process? I says, I'm becoming spontaneously awesome. If that is not vague, I don't know what is, but I think that's the limit of our language to describe an experience of awareness or awakening when our true nature comes out and we act in a very skillful way. So often this comes out in emergency situations. People who train their whole lives being EMS or firefighters act without consideration for their own safety, stepping into harm's way to rescue people, to save their lives. I work in a hospital, so I see that in many of my coworkers on the hospital floors. When the code sounds, they act, they respond appropriately for the benefit of somebody else, and they become spontaneously awesome for just that moment. And in that moment, we may find ourselves experiencing something which I'll talk about in another lesson, that is non-judgmental joy. So again, go ahead and sit, go ahead and breathe. Work the train of thought, stopping at each station as we've done previously. And maybe, just maybe in this one brief moment, you begin to realize that you are already there. You are already spontaneously awesome. All you have to do is remove the obstacles that you put in your way. Thank you. All right. I encourage you to continue practicing this one particular lesson more than the others, simply because by breaking it down into individual steps, we begin to work ourselves towards really what we're hoping to achieve. And that is still point cultivation, which I'll cover in the next lesson. But before we get there, you've got to be able to master the various steps in the train of thought. Once you've mastered that, you begin to realize that sometimes you just have to get off at that train station and deal with what's come up, or you can stay on the train and go on to the next station. I know it seems a little ethereal, a little abstract, but work with it. Explore it, play around with it, see what comes up. And once you've mastered this, move on to the next lesson, and then we'll begin to discuss still point cultivation. Thank you.